I think you're on mute.
Oh. Now I hear you somewhere, but not in the right place. This headset makes me mad.
Hello, Andrea.
But yes, I mean,
Do you hear me well now?
Yeah, we hear
I
you.
do.
Perfect. So then I have the right device. Perfect. So 3 of us has joined. I realized earlier that this meeting is quite early now for our US friends. I believe it's 1 hour earlier than usual.
How?
They don't have time in.
Yeah. Just for the next couple of weeks, of this week and next week.
Yeah, yeah.
But generally, this meeting operates in the UTC, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay, just checking. And yeah, actually, tomorrow, reminder. So I consider that CDF2C also operates in UTC. So I will send the reminder. I'm currently creating an event on the CDF2C charter. But yeah, we are meeting 4 p.m. UTC as always.
Yeah.
And funny thing that since CF2C seems to operate in the American time zone, because the meeting switched to 4 p.m. my local time.
So should we get started maybe? I can share my screen if you like. Okay, I guess you see my screen now. I can start with that myself. Perfect. So the agenda is slightly different from previous meetings. We have reordered a bit because we wanted to talk about the meetups or the conferences rather early in this meeting so we don't miss out on it. We'll have some general things in the beginning and then we will look into updates from other groups and the SIG Events project setup. What's the status there? That's the idea. Any comments on the agenda? No.
I would like to add a discussion. Well, we already have SIG Events Con.
Yes,
just have a deeper discussion.
Sure. We'll talk about that in that bullet. So I tried to collect the action items from previous meeting. I wasn't here, as you might remember. And I actually just saw this action item, I think, which was not really related to anything else we are talking about. And since Steve is still not here, we can't see if this is done. I can say, by the way, about presentations, I tried to reach out to the guy here, Jamie Plower from Fidelity, who has previously said he was able to give us a presentation on the use of events in CI/CD pipelines from Fidelity, but I haven't managed to get hold of him since then. Now I've got another person to contact in Fidelity, and I tried there, haven't got a reply there either. So let's see. We will not have the presentation today, at least.
The only thing I've heard from Kara that is Jamie is his name, I think, was unwell for some time, which that's why the schedule for the presentation was delayed. But, yeah. So as far as I know, it would still be interested in the presentation, but yeah, so we need to have feedback from him.
Yeah, sure. I guess he will tell me when he's back. I mean, answer on my chat, I guess. Or if I get some action from the other person I contacted as well. Let's see. Okay. So general items then, again, about the daylight savings time. As you already said, the United States is already in daylight savings time. But I believe for most countries in Europe, and I believe Russia as well, it begins on March 27th. Is that true for you both, Andrea and Oleg?
Well, two answers. Firstly, Russia doesn't change the time zones.
Ah,
Secondly,
lucky you.
I'm based in Switzerland.
Ah, you're based in Switzerland. Okay. So, but how is it in Switzerland? Do you change time zones?
Same as in the rest of the Europe. And looking forward to time zone switches to be cancelled, because over the past decade, it was probably the best change in Russian governance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we look forward to that then. The discussion is ongoing in Sweden, so I hope we will get there. But it is not decided which time we will actually stay on, if it's summertime or winter time, but remains to be seen. I guess.
I'm fine with both.
Yeah, as long as it's stable. So the proposal from me is that we move this to 3 p.m. UTC, which means it will be effectively the same time as we always meet. Any other opinions about that? I think that's how we've done it last years.
No objections.
So if you would click this link, you would see what time that means on the next meeting occasion in your place. It will be 1700 hours in Linköping, Sweden, where I'm located. That's the
That
same
works
as
for me. Yeah, it's perfect for me as well. We will have
good.
BST here, British summertime. So that's
Yeah,
gonna be
good.
Yeah, I agree also. It feels like you're keeping the order in the schedule.
So we should update the calendar, I guess. The CDF calendar doesn't follow, right? We need to update that manually. And I can do that, that's fine.
Or I can do that if it helps.
Oh, you can do it, Ollie. Perfect, if you can do it right now, maybe.
Well,
For
I have it open, so for me, it's not a big deal. So starting from the next meeting.
From next meeting. And I guess the vocabulary meeting will stay on this time slot next week as well, right? Or yeah, the same time slot as today, but then we will change that as well after that week. Good. Any other comments about DST? Nope. So let's go to the next.
Checked calendars of open source communities. I don't see any collisions, well, except the CNCF calendar, but yeah, it's something outside our control.
Okay.
So just confirming it's fine.
Good. Next agenda point I just added here, it was discussed last week as well, last time, about the HackMD nonprofit organization, which you know now is done. I think all of you have access to it, I believe. And I'm not sure how much access you will need to see this top level CD Foundation with all the different documents, but maybe it's readable by anyone. So here we now have all the SIGs in the same organization. Yeah, this is just for information.
Where do we stand with regards of accounts number? So we've got 20. How many have we already used?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, just for my information.
I don't remember the exact number. Let me see. If you go to, yeah, exactly there. So it's 10.
Yeah, probably we could remove Tracy. I'm not sure whether she's still active in the CDF. well, if needed. Same for Tara. I'm not sure whether she leads any activities right now. So yeah. If needed, we can optimize. It would be definitely nice to also have Michelle in the list, just in case we need some administration assistance. And well, maybe Roxanne as well, so that if needed, we can ask the CDF team to assist.
I was thinking the new chair in SIG interoperability. Is that this woman or who was that now?
Yeah, it's Melissa McKay.
Okay, so that's her then. Good.
I suppose that's Melissa McKay.
It should be. Good.
So yeah, I would suggest to remove Tracy, maybe Tara, and add Roxanne and Michelle.
Should we maybe ask Fatih to do it as he's the owner, or should we do it ourselves? Just
yeah. Well, we discussed with Fatih. I was chatting with Fatih about this, and we said we could remove them if you run out of those spaces. But if you prefer to, for any reason, to remove them now,
No need to do it now. Just putting it on the table.
Okay. Good. So it's a limit of 20 people here, right? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. It is now, yes. I mean, we have the ability to request more accounts if needed.
Yeah. One of interesting topics. So there is a new City of Brazil chapter, which we basically created. So, but then they have 3 leaders. I'm not sure whether they need HackMD right away, but maybe it makes sense to ask them.
Yeah.
Actually, I will do it right away.
Wasn't there a SIG for China somehow earlier? Vocabulary, what was that? Some
yes.
Localization.
Localization for China, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that still exist or?
Wow. It nominally exists, but yeah, knowing how it works there, I wouldn't expect much activities to be happening in these channels. So usually they take everything to their own chats, which is basically their own meeting notes, etc. So it's unlikely that they would need that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that the Brazil part would need, maybe. Yeah, go on, Andre.
No, sorry, I was just saying that there is a Google Doc attached to the meeting invitation for the Chinese localization sake. The last meeting happened according to that doc in October last year. So I don't know if the SIG is still active. That's maybe something we could follow.
So I can follow up with Rick, but yeah, we have a history, so I know. Well, I don't have much expectations about it being active right now.
Since we need to live with it, this notification as well for the whole year. A bit disturbing, but anyway. Okay, should we go on? Let's get into meetups. And the first one we should discuss is the webinar that we postponed from March 2nd. I guess we should plan for a new date.
Yeah.
Is it time for a new doodle, Oleg, or what do you think is the best way?
I think the best way is to just agree between each other, confirm with Steve, and if you are fine, we can go. And maybe one of the things we could just convert the 6 meeting, maybe the next one, to the webinar, and so be it. It's one of the options, actually.
Yeah. Did we say it should be a bit longer, like 1.5 hours or 2 hours, or what did we say last?
So for me, it will be fine.
I think when we booked it last time, it was 1.5 hours, right?
I think I remember that as well. But yeah, so what should the focus be? If we would replace one of these SIG meetings with such a webinar, then it will take 2 more weeks before we can have SIG meeting in this group. What, I mean, would we expect anyone else to join than the SIG anyway?
This is something we can work on. So my question is, on which platform you make the announcement? So I guess it should be community CDF with reports to all meetups, etc. So, but we can make it a part of the SIG Events chapter, or we can put it somewhere. So this is a topic we need to agree on, but otherwise I think it would be the best format.
What about content for that meetup? I mean, what do we want to?
Same as FOSDEM or restyled with new logos, maybe with some updates. So the thing that we don't officially start marketing, right? So my understanding that we want to have marketing later. So this one would be rather facilitating participants, contributors, so we can bug open source projects that haven't participated yet. So they invite them to join. So for me, it would be rather onboarding potential participants and adopters.
Sure. So, but we need to prepare. I mean, if you want to do a presentation, and we could redo the FOSDEM presentation, we could tailor it a little bit to the project.
Yeah, so it can be a shorter. So I guess more important thing would be not the presentation, but open discussion afterwards. And but yeah, some kind of presentation would be still needed. So, for example, we did announcement for open feature recently. Well, not announcement, we started project meetings and we started from 15 minutes presentation with overview. For SIG events, it might be bigger because you already have a lot more content. But then the more important part is actually discussion, getting feedback, getting interested parties.
Right.
It seems to me that it could be a bit short to have just 1 hour then with the presentation and making room for everyone that might participate. So should we have 1 hour, 1.5 hours then maybe?
I think 1 hour then would be fine. So we basically just convert the next project meeting. For me, it makes total sense.
Yeah, but I do agree with Emil. I mean, if we convert the next project meeting, just afraid. I mean, there's going to be then 4 weeks until we meet again, and maybe we'll need to. I mean, we can sync offline. That also works. At least I would like to continue making progress on the SIG event con.
Yeah, I agree.
I think SIG Events can be a part of this discussion. So maybe.
Yeah, but I think we should focus it on the new coming people's use cases and why they would need events. We should maybe have time to discuss that with them and not mix in conference talk or conference preparations, I would think. But should we, last time we said a Wednesday, the 2nd of March, should we instead aim for Wednesday, 30th of March then, this time?
For me, it will be difficult, but it's possible. So before 5 p.m. I should be available. Wednesday 30th. Yes, so before 3 p.m. UTC, I should be available.
Before 3 p.m. Okay. It might be very early for the US participants then.
I will have a business trip. So other option, we have first week of April when I also have a conflict. Okay, and how about just having it maybe not of 20th or let's say on 4th of April?
So just April? Or
4th. So one
4th, sorry, 4th,
yeah, so same time slot as SIG meeting, but just another week. Maybe it's already time for Doodle.
That's fine with me, actually. The 4th of April, that would be fine, I think. What do the rest of you say?
Yeah, it works for me for 1 hour at least.
It conflicts with is it a best practices meeting, which is in the same time slot then?
Yeah.
It's best practice, and that's.
But I think it's yeah.
So I guess
it's not too close to now, so it gives us some time to do some advertisements and get people interested joining in.
yeah, I wouldn't do it in 1 week, because if you want to
No.
outreach to potential projects, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Andrea, would it be okay for you to have the presentation then, together with Eric, if he's available?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that then 3 p.m. UTC, or did we say 2:30 UTC to have 1.5 hours?
Yeah, we could.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ole.
I think 1 hour should be enough. So if we create a separate event, after 1 hour, people will start losing focus anyway.
So 3 p.m. UTC at 4 o'clock at the 4th of April then. The same time slot as we have today.
Yeah.
Sounds okay?
Sounds good.
And then we should use the Bevy portal for this now, right?
Yeah.
And the project was called SIG Events something, right? Or
exactly like that.
Yeah. Okay. SIG Events project.
Wasn't it called SIG Events Chapter?
Chapter. Yeah, chapter is what it's called in Bevy.
Somebody still needs to work on branding for this page, but if we agree to do it there, I think that it's fine.
Or isn't it ready by then, you think, to use? Or
No, I think it's fine to keep it as this.
And Ole, I guess you have the calendar up. Will you add this as a meeting there as well then?
Yeah, I will
Does you
add
still
it.
have the calendar up?
Yeah, I still do have access to that. I'm just trying to finish the TUC announcement, but yeah, I didn't forget about this part.
Okay. And about announcing this in other channels then? In Slack, of course, but you mentioned other channels as well, to other open source projects maybe and others. How should we go about doing that?
Yeah, so I think that we should just firstly ask Roxanne for help with announcement, and secondly, just use our networks where possible. So I don't think that we need to do too much, but yeah, I think that we could also reach out to some organizations. But yeah, it's not immediate for me. Yeah, speaking of that, do we have any big companies which we still need to get at the table? There's plenty of them.
Sorry, other companies that should join us or
Yes.
that we should reach out to.
Mhm.
I think we should get Spinnaker organization involved.
You started from a difficult one.
Maybe. I don't know. Is it? Why is it difficult?
Well, I would say that Spinnaker community is not exactly active these days.
But we are in touch with them for the city event call, at least trying to see if something happens. But yeah, not no response yet, I think.
Well, I can reach out to OpsMX and Armory directly, but yeah, there were some changes, so I'm not even sure. I was trying to get TOC contributors to join, to at least represent Spinnaker, to have some communication channel with the TOC, but yeah, I wasn't successful.
Okay.
Should we leave it at that then? Andrea, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, as I said, so we kind of reached out to Armory, at least for CD Events Con, and let's see if we can get someone to reply from them.
About Spinnaker and right.
Right, yeah, for Spinnaker.
So we said that Roxanne should help us announce this. Who should contact Roxanne?
Yeah, I can do that.
Good. Anything else on the webinar? Could we move on then?
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Then we have some other seminars or conferences. So KubeCon and CDCon. KubeCon is of course the most soon coming one with the events day. Is it on May 17th or 16th now? Is it decided or?
17th. It was confirmed.
17th.
So it will be a full day event.
Hmm?
It will be a full day event on 17th. So it means from 9 to 5 p.m.
Right, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I created this Akandi for the planning. And yeah, there are a few things I wanted to discuss with you and also see who's interested in helping, if anyone helping with the setup organization of the event. So yeah, so the title of the event is going to be CD Event Con.
Yeah.
Sorry. The abstract is fixed now, and this is going to be in the event page hosted on the KubeCon website. I sent this out for review some time ago, and I think it's got positive feedback. So
yes.
The next session, so there's going to be an event page associated to the event on KubeCon website where we can publish some information. I don't have a URL yet, and Kara told me it might be live maybe next week also. There are a few things that I think we should have on that page, like the event abstract, same as above. It would probably be good to have something about the code of conduct, like prominent saying that we want to, something like we want to create a safe and welcoming space to learn about city events and have a link to the code of conduct and let people know how to report any code of conduct violation. And then, yeah, I don't know anything else that we should have on that event page. I thought maybe we could have some link to resources. Once we have a fixed agenda, we could add the agenda there, of course. But yeah, anything else that people think we should put on the event page?
Yeah, so the agenda, of course, needs to be there when it's finished, I guess.
Yeah, so
Should we
Kara
have
told me
some
yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
should I have some early thoughts about the agenda published from the beginning, or?
Well, I think we need to finalize at least the structure that we want to have and agree on that. I don't know if we can do it today. We can put something in there, or we can have some general text saying what kind of content it will be. We can add to the page incrementally. That's what Kara told me. So we don't need to have like the final content when the page is published. So as we get more things decided, we can add them basically to the page. I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, no, but that's fine.
There's the room setup that we need to. So the Linux Foundation is asking us about. So Kara sent me a link to that Google Doc. I don't know if you can open it. They told me there were going to be 3 rooms. There are 4 rooms in this picture, even though 2 of the rooms can be combined into one. So I think Kara is trying to clarify this with Linux Foundation if it's 2 or 3. And yeah, so they're asking us basically how we want the rooms to be set up. And that depends on the type of content that we're going to have, I would say. But yeah, my proposal would be for the bigger classroom, the old OGS, I don't know, whatever it is, March 1, to have it set up as a theater, so that if we have some talks in the morning, we use that as a theater. And then, yeah, if we have all 4 of them, it probably makes sense to have maybe 2 and 3 combined and not use 4, because I don't think we can use 3 rooms, or we could, yeah, I don't know, open to ideas. So one thing that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that Kara mentioned to me today is that Spinnaker was looking maybe at hosting a workshop at KubeCon, and they asked whether they could have some space from CDF. So one option could be maybe to say we lend some of the space to them to run a workshop. I don't think we will need the whole space. And also it would be good if we could try and get some Spinnaker content then in CD EventCon. We'd have a presentation of any work they're doing with events. But it's yeah, it's a bit up in the air right now. I mean, if we don't get answer, we don't know.
Do we think that there will be parallel sessions on this day from our end? Will there be a need for multiple rooms at the same time?
Well, it would be useful for Breakout for sure. Sorry for stepping on your toes.
No, that's fine. I mean, the idea is that I think during talks, I wouldn't have anything else going on unless people decided. I mean, if you have the space, we can say if people wants to use it for breakouts even during talks. But yeah. But after the talks, if we have enough people to make discussions or workshops or things like that, then I think it's good to have the multiple rooms. But it depends on who is actually going to be there at the event.
I can actually propose 1 potential breakout sessions session. So on May 17th, we actually have Captain User Day, which is already confirmed conditionally, starting from 1 p.m. But there is one topic which could be actually interesting for CD events. So firstly, Captain events and all the collaboration that happened between the CD events, Captain, which wasn't that much. And but still, it's something we could discuss, maybe as a kind of short talk in the main agenda. And for spin-off, we could actually try discussing generic application lifecycle events standard. So basically, same like CD events, but for application state, etc. So what happens after the deployment? So I'm not sure whether it would be something interesting to the CD events community, but I think it would be a good breakout session, let's say for brainstorming, for finding some agreements, maybe for lining up some strategy. And in Captain, we discussed donating it to the Continuous Delivery Foundation as a separate project. So I think it could be a good opportunity.
Sure. So, but Captain People is going to be in the Captain.
Yeah, after
events?
1 p.m. But let's say if it happens before noon, it's something we could do. Well, it could probably happen even afternoon, because we could have a breakout session as a part of Captain. So when Captain, we just have one room. So we won't have an opportunity to create a breakout session on our venue, but we could potentially use one of the rooms, CD events. So basically cross-post it and collaborate on that even at the afternoon time.
Okay.
I was thinking if we should have breakout rooms, what is the best setting then? Is it theater setting or classroom setting still? Would it be better to have a more, sorry?
Yeah, better to have more smaller rooms.
Yeah, but I was thinking, should they be, should the furniture be placed as a theater setup or classroom setup in that room? I'm not sure if it's even possible actually to have classroom setup in a small room. Maybe it's not. Then it might need to be the theater setting. It seems only if we combine it, we can have classroom setting instead, or round, whatever that means.
Yeah,
rounds would be better.
Yeah, I think maybe we could say combine the 2 and 3 and have them all set to rounds.
I wonder what that would look like, but yeah. Would it be like small islands within the same room then? Round groups of chairs or whatever, and tables.
Yeah, I imagine they're like larger round tables or smaller table put in a circle.
Right, yeah.
That's what I've seen in conferences.
So there will be multiple groups in the same room then discussing different topics maybe among the different tables, or
yeah,
potentially.
Potentially, yeah, if we talk about breakouts, it's also nice to have something like how to develop your CD events integration or how to contribute to CD events. So basically kind of hands-on workshop showing, let's say, integrating a basic tool with CD events.
Yes, that's down in the list. So yeah. Okay. Sorry, we're just trying to follow the order. But yeah, so there is one of the ideas I put down below for the workshops.
Yeah, sorry, I distracted you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, if we can conclude on the room setup, and we can go to the content. So we have just to finish this. So would it make sense then to say room 1 for theater?
And then the next two as combined with rounds then, or? I guess that's these two rooms that will be combined into one larger then.
I suppose, yeah.
I guess
but we
can
also need
ask
the fourth room.
Yeah, I guess we can ask if they can make 2 2 rooms of rounds.
Yeah. I think that, yeah.
Also the smaller room here, the last one. The rounds. Or does it make sense to have a combined room with a lot of rounds in it instead of having split rooms?
I'm not sure. We just opposed to having the combined just because they didn't offer the options to have rounds in the room two alone.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if there is any advantage of having the single bigger rooms with rounds.
I guess it becomes noisier if you have if you have 2 different groups discussing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
So we can ask. I mean, if we can have the smaller rooms with rounds, it's probably better. Okay.
Just a question of participation and so on. Well, like you said that the Captain Con was running from 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So it will be from 1 to 5 active part. I mean, conference part, maybe some breakout sessions. And then we want to have a happy hour, probably outside the premises to celebrate Captain incubation in the CNCF. So that's the idea. But yeah, I can share a slide deck with you where we have a layout, well, just our tentative plans for that event.
Yeah, I was wondering because I saw here in a note that Knative Con were running parallel, so that is also on 17th or.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are something like 6 or 7 events running in parallel and more to be announced. So it's a highly competitive agenda.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, we discussed during the event on Monday, but it's 1 day earlier, so it's farther away from KubeCon, so it's harder to get people in the room. And yeah, so I think at the end of the day, we're in touch with the KubeCon, with the Knative team as well, trying to see if we can do something together with them. One idea is maybe birds of a feather that we could do, or maybe some social afterwards. But yeah, it's still being clarified.
Now there's a GitOps con as well at the same time. Or 2, it seems. 2 different tracks. And Cloud Native Sec. Okay. So some conflicts. Are we done with this setting then?
I think so.
Yeah. Should we continue with the content, proposed content?
Yes, please.
So should we set a timeline first, or what do you think?
No, I think it would be more important to discuss the content that we want to have. I mean, my initial idea was to have maybe a keynote or introduction to the event, and then a few talks, maybe 3 or 4 talks, depending on how much time we want to spend on talks and how many talks we have available. And then based on the answers from the Google form in terms of second half, we could have some workshop about design and specification was the one with most votes, with 8 votes. Demos was also at 7 votes. And then we had like hands-on CD events, SDKs, hands-on implementing project and more. So I think for demos, it's probably relatively straightforward. It can be similar to talks. So we have the existing POC. There is a POC I'm working on with Dorometrics. There is a POC that the Knative folks are working on as well, if we can get them in the room. So, and those could be kind of talk kind of format. For design and specification sessions or workshops, I think it would be great for like workshop, having one generic maybe workshop like developing a CD events adapter using the SDK could be one workshop like you were suggesting, or like I think along these lines. We could have a captain breakout room if we have a good time for that to work. We could have a Knative birds of a feather. That's not a workshop, sorry, another type of. But yeah, so I think for this kind of workshop and events to work, we need to have the right people in the room. So we need to know that us will be there, how many of us will be there, and to have the right people from the different groups to be there.
On that note, I can just mention that I'm very interested in coming, but so far we have travel restrictions in Ericsson. So as it is right now, I can't travel. But the travel restrictions are supposed to be updated very soon during Q1, now in the end of Q1. So I have hopes still that I might be able to travel, but I can't say for now. So as it is right now, I cannot.
Okay, that's not good. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, in my case, my travel passport expires on May 22nd. So unless something changes in Spain regulations, I should be able to go, but it's kind of probably my last trip taking all the situation in the world.
Oh gosh.
I'm trying to renew, but so far I'm not exactly optimistic about that.
Wow, tough.
Crazy word.
Yeah, really. Okay, I think it sounds very interesting, this agenda anyway, or the content here. Seems to be able to fill the whole day with maybe several parallel breakout sessions as well.
I think we talked about some social thing. Would we put that on some kind of on the agenda? Social afterwards, I think we talked about at some point. Is that something we go into this document, or should we take it ad hoc?
Yes, we definitely should have it in here. So right now, one of the options, there is going to be there's going to be a CNCF events social in the conference center. So one option that we are looking at is to see whether it's something that we could join as well as CDF. Another option could be to do something afterwards, or could be both. But yeah.
But then there's somebody who is thinking of it at least.
Yes.
Thanks, Ollie.
In terms of actual content of talks, so for keynotes, I don't have any plan yet, and if anyone has any idea or preference or would like to volunteer to do the keynote, please let me know. I mean, it could just simply do an introduction to the project, say but I think it would be nice to have a keynote maybe that talks about why events and so forth. Maybe something along the lines of what the PR you propose, Matthias. Why do we choose events? Why we think events are relevant, and why we care about interoperability and this kind of topics. And yeah. And in terms of talks, Steve mentioned that Ortelius might be interested in presenting something, but I've not been able to get a confirmation from Steve about who will be there and what they would talk about exactly. So this is an option. It's still a bit up in the air. Second one, Captain. I think Oleg, you mentioned at some point that someone from Captain community could do the presentation. I think we had a short chat on Slack. I wanted to ask you, since the event, the Captain event will be running, but it's going to be running after 1 p.m. So I guess in the morning, it would not be a problem, should not be a problem to have a talk from someone in Captain.
Yeah, it would be nice. And yeah, also talk or maybe breakout session, but the more I think about that, it looks more feasible to do the breakout session even in parallel with Captain Community Day. So it's technically feasible, but for the talk, I can look for a speaker. So me and Andy Grabner, we will go there according to the current plan. So maybe some other community members should be able to do that.
Because we don't really have city events implementers yet, or not much. I think it would be good to have like a round of projects showing how they use events today, and maybe they use cloud events like Captain, and why they use events and what kind of benefits or issues, and so this kind of content would be good.
So maybe it would also make sense to have Jenkins and cloud events. Because we already have adopting CD events somewhere on our roadmap. Yeah, the problem is who would present it actually.
Right.
But I can ask around.
That'd be great. Yeah, that's for sure something that would make sense to have. Jenkins, and I think Jenkins and events in general, or cloud events, the work that was done during the GSOC. Specifically, but yeah.
So yeah, could potentially present that, but yeah, my bandwidth might be quite limited. So I would rather look for somebody else in the community, but I'm not sure who else would be going to KubeCon right now.
Right.
Could talk about getting KubeCon student there, sorry, GSOC student there, but yeah, I'm not sure whether it would be a timely notice. They're based in India, so I can check.
Well, we could try and look for kind of trial support from TDF if it makes sense. But yeah, in that case, I think we would need to decide very soon to give it time to organize such things.
So Jenkins has its own budget. I mean, well, we are still waiting for CDF to route us money for the previous year of GSOC, but in principle, we have some money in our coffers that are are designed to send students to in-person conferences.
Okay.
So it doesn't seem to be the most terrible idea. The problem is how we get a KubeCon ticket, which, well, but I think it's something we can also shake some trees to get sponsorship or get a free ticket.
I see that we only have 5 minutes left now. I could just say as well, if I or maybe Matthias would go to KubeCon, I guess we could present Eiffel as well, how Eiffel is used and the history there with it in use cases. I don't know where I should add that.
I just said it. So for you, Matthias, attending is a similar situation as Emil, I suppose, right? imagine.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, if we have a few options, I think it's likely that not all of them will realize and become actual talks. And there are a few ideas for demos as well. So among all of these, hopefully we will have enough content. But I would like at some point that we are able to say, okay, we got fixed abstract and confirmation from people that will be there and do the talk, so we can finalize the agenda.
Yeah. Is it only you today, Andrea, that is working on this agenda and the content, or is it someone else that is helping out there? Or?
It's only me on the content side. I mean, Kara is assisting in terms of logistic and interface to the Linux Foundation. But yeah, so specifically for content, I mean, if you have ideas for talks, and I think it would be good to agree on the content that we want to have as a group. And if people wants to help out, go and scout for speakers, and that would be great, I think.
Yeah. Good.
Like Oleg kindly offered.
Good. Should we then leave this for the last minutes of the meeting? Is that okay, Andrea? Or we're done? Or any loose ends?
Just a couple of things. I think, stickers. We'll need stickers. Maybe some swag for speakers. If we manage to get a mascot in place or something, but I'll follow up on that.
Is anyone creating the stickers or?
No, I need to. I think for stickers it would be our logo.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I need to check with the CDF. But yeah, I think we'll need to have stickers to give people for sure. And the other thing, it would be good to set up an Rsvp, I think, to get a feeling of how many people we can expect to be. But yeah, I need to check how we can do that, what kind of platform support we have for that. Yeah. And the very last thing, sorry, I know we are out of time, is how do we want to go about communicating about this? I'm not sure we should wait until like next 2 weeks before we sync again on the conference.
We can try to sync over Slack, I think, as well. I will try to be active, even though I'm not always very active, and help out with what I can.
Things might be a bit more clear if we, in 2 weeks' time, maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
If we're not hitting deadlines, then of course by pushing it 2 weeks.
But it's, yeah.
Go ahead, Emil.
Now, if we are hitting deadlines, of course we should put it on Slack so we sort it out when needed.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Andrea, will you post something about CDCon?
Yeah. I can start a Hackn.de for planning that as well. My idea for CDCon is that it would be a CDCon contributor summit, so more like a hands-on workshop for us or project that would like to work with us. Yeah, but we can start a planning Hackn.de for that.
Yes, mentioned I saw that there will be a CD events opportunity in the CDF booth during KubeCon as well. So as I understood it, half a day or 1 day, there should be CD events for project focus in that booth. And I guess the booth is up all days during KubeCon. Okay, we didn't have time to go through the last bullets, but I guess that's okay for now. Thank you very much for good discussions, and let's keep in touch on Slack. Okay,
Thanks.
talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.